בכבוד.
Okay, first of all, to say Hazaku Baruch to Dor Grady for arranging this.
Pick up so the details well.
Yeah, it doesn't go through.
And do you hear when he's speaking? The better is it?
I'll speak. Can you hear me?
Hello? Do you hear my?
Hello.
Can you hear the Rabbi when he's speaking?
I can hear.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. So I wanted to first of all, Bruchim Ba'im, welcome everyone, and special thank you to Dor Grady for arranging this special evening of Limud Torah. I think it's a historical event. I don't know when we have had a session, evening of Limud in this form in our community, to have 3 shiurim, one after the other, and it should be not the last time, it should be a start. I think the plan is to make this a monthly event, and it's a big honor for me to be able to start this program, kick it off, as we say. So no, Limud Torah, the study of Torah, that is the most important thing in any place in the world, in any community. In the place where the Torah was studied regularly, there was success. In a place where the Torah was not studied, very, very quickly the community disintegrated, disappeared. Because Torah is Chaim. It says, we say when we put the Torah back in the ark, Etz Chaim hila machazikim ba. Those who hold on to the Torah, it's like holding on to the tree of life. The tree of life that was hidden. If you read the beginning of Torah in Gan Eden, Adam and Chava, they made a mistake. They ate from the fruit of Etz Hadat, and then Hashem hid the tree of life, but didn't hide it forever. He actually gave us the tree of life, because the tree of life is the Torah. And every day a person studies Torah, that means he's truly alive, because his soul is alive. A person can be physically alive, but his neshama is not alive. A person can be physically weak, but if he's got the Torah, he's full of life. So, my shiur today is going to be basically a practical shiur. I saw Ador just put up on the screen the line from the first line of the Shulchan Aruch in Hilchot Pesach, which is actually a quote from the Talmud. Shoalim v'dorshin, we ask questions and we study the laws of Pesach 30 days before Pesach. Yeah? A month before Pesach, Shoalim v'Hilchot Pesach kodem Pesach 30 yom. A month before Pesach, you have to study the laws of Pesach. Yeah, very interesting statement in the Talmud. And it's interesting, it's only by Pesach. Yeah? Before Shavuot, you don't need 30 days to study. Shavuot is a very simple Chag. Not many special mitzvot, just you have to keep the laws of Chag. Sukkot, there are quite a few halachot of building a sukkah, and quite a few halachot of the Arbat HaMinim, the Lulav, the Etrog, the Hadas, and Arava. But at the end of the day, it's relatively simple how to build a kosher sukkah, and it's relatively simple to find kosher Arba Minim. Maybe they don't grow in Finland, but once you have a Lulav, and Etrog, and Hadas, Arava, it's quite rare that they would be actually pasul, not that they wouldn't be kosher. But when it comes to Pesach, a person who doesn't know the halacha, he can be nichshal, he can break very, very serious transgressions. And more than that, he can miss a very essential part of being Jewish, because Pesach is the beginning of the Jewish nation. So let's try to understand the halachot. We have an hour, which is a very short time, that people will spend years studying the halachot of Pesach. So I'll spend a bit of time just doing an overview of what we need to know. That's the first thing. And then I want to concentrate on something very special we have this year. That this year we have the exceptional occurrence, which is Erev Pesach shechal להיות b'Shabbat. That Erev Pesach, the day before Pesach, is actually Shabbat. Yeah? We start the first Seder on Saturday night. And this means a lot of changes to what we're usually used to. A lot of things we would usually do on Erev Pesach, we cannot do on Erev Pesach because of Shabbat. And we were looking at the calendar just for out of interest. We had it 3 years ago, I believe, and we had it 15 years ago, and the next time we're going to have it is in 20 years, in 2045. So it doesn't happen that often, so we should know now that it's happening, what exactly we need to do. Yosef, what's the person who's popular so much? What's the person? Moshe, welcome. Okay, so first of all, the laws of Pesach, you have to know what are the halachot of Pesach, what does the Torah tell us about Pesach? So the first place to look is Parashat Bo, Exodus chapter 12, when the Jews are in Mitzrayim, and the first 9 plagues have happened, and before the 10th plague, God says, thank you very much, Lord. Before the 10th plague, which is the death of the firstborn, Hashem says to the Jewish people, this month of Nisan shall be the first of all the months, and you should take a sheep, and they prepare the Korban Pesach, which unfortunately we do not have, the Pesach sacrifice. And then Hashem gives a few halachot, a few mitzvot, which apply from generation to generation on Pesach. Hashem forbade to eat chametz. Kol machmetzet lo tochel. Yeah, you shall not eat chametz for during Pesach. Bayom harishon tashmidu sol batechem. He said on the first day, and the Chazal explained, doesn't mean the first day. The first day of Pesach is already Pesach. The day before Pesach, you shall destroy all the chametz. And goes further, lo yira'eh lecha chametz, v'lo yira'eh lecha seor b'chol givurecha. It shall not be seen in your possession any chametz. That's in the Isurim, the prohibition. And then, furthermore, there are things you have to do. On the first night of Pesach, it says, "Ba'erev tochlu matzot." In the evening, you should eat matzah. In the times of the Beit HaMikdash, they would eat the Korban Pesach, the sacrifice of Pesach. Al matzot u'merorim yochlu, they would eat together matzah and maror. And then we have a very, very important mitzvah that should not be forgotten, because sometimes you get so busy with the cleaning, you forget about it, but we have to remember it. V'igata lemincha b'yomahu. On the night of Pesach, a mitzvah to tell your children what happened. Mitzvah of Haggadah. So these are the mitzvot. Prohibition to eat chametz, the prohibition to own chametz, the mitzvah to get rid of chametz, and the mitzvah to eat matzah on Leila Seder. Interesting. There is no mitzvah to eat matzot the rest of Pesach. The rest of Pesach, there is a prohibition to eat chametz. If you don't like matzah, you can eat something else. On Leila Seder, and here in the diaspora, it's 2 nights of Seder, you have to eat matzah, whether you like it or not, on both nights.
How important it is to find matzah smura for both nights?
Okay, excellent question. I think let's maybe go in order. So let's go through what happens, preparation the next few weeks, then go to the week of the actual Seder, and then maybe we can talk about the different types of matzot. But excellent. Okay, so let's try to understand a little bit what are these, what does it mean, what these prohibitions mean. First of all, what is chametz? Yeah? I met people who have kept Pesach their whole life, but they can't give me a definition of chametz. Yeah? Chametz is anything made from wheat, rye, oats, spelt. Which one did I forget? Wheat, barley. That's been in contact with water for longer than 18 minutes and has not been baked. After the 18, if it was baked before 18 minutes have elapsed, it's matzah. If it took longer than 18 minutes, it's chametz. Okay? It's very easy to remember. Matzah and chametz are the same thing. The only difference is that chametz, it's like, how do you write matzah? Mem tzaddik chet, matzah mem tzadi hey, chametz chet mem tzadi. Chet and het is such a small difference. Yeah, there's a wall. The wall connects, it's chametz. The wall does not connect, it's matzah. Yeah? 17 minutes and 50 seconds. It is kosher matzah. You can use the Eid Seder. 15 seconds later, it's chametz. If you eat it on Pesach, you are chayav karet. Your soul shall be cut off from the nation. That's what it says in the Torah.
So that's what you mentioned before, that after first two Seder nights, people are not obliged to eat chametz.
Obliged to eat matzah, you mean?
Matzah, sorry. But now the question is like, those who cannot eat matzah, what is the minimum that you need to consider?
We'll get to that.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, very good. I want to go in order. But that's a prohibition to eat chametz. So you have to know first what is chametz. And the opposite of chametz is matzah, right? Basically what we're, in other words, trying to explain is chametz means fermentation. Once the grain starts fermenting, it's chametz. And we want to remember the Jews, ki v'chipazon yatzata meretz Mitzrayim, who left Egypt in such a rush that they had no time for the dough to rise. You have to understand, it's an interesting thing, really. We go through so much trouble to clean our homes and to prepare for Pesach. Why? To remember ki v'chipazon yatzata Mitzrayim, because we're in a big rush, we left Egypt. Okay, so I don't understand. Okay, so I understand we do commemoration, we left Egypt. Why do you have to do weeks of cleaning and preparation and kashering for what? To remember something that happened? Very important to understand. On Pesach, we're not remembering that we left Egypt. Remembering that we left Egypt, we have to do that every day. You know that? There's a halachot kol yemei chayecha. And every morning we say, Vayomer Hashem Moshe lemor, in the Shema, Ani Hashem Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, I am Hashem your God who took you out of Egypt. And in the evening we say it again. And we say the tefillot, so every kiddush we say, we find that Zecher Yetziat Mitzrayim. There's plenty of remembering Egypt. Right? There's no danger that we're going to forget that. On Pesach, a different mitzvah. We have to re-experience and go back to the situation where we were in. We say in the Haggadah, "Bechol dor vador chayav adam lirot atzmo kilu hu yatza mitzrayim." The person has to look at himself and say, "It's as if I myself left Egypt." And that's extremely important, because if you don't realize that, how can you be a Jew? If you don't understand that Hashem took you out, and this is your story, and this is your life, and not just a story from thousands of years ago. Somebody asked me just now, what if somebody wasn't born Jewish? What if you converted? So what? Pesach is not relevant for you. It's not your history. No, it's your history. It's your neshama was there, and this is your story. And this is what you will need to convey to your children. And that's why you have to make your whole house into a Pesach house. It's a very, very deep idea. My main point was to figure out halachah. Just only this one quick thing. You're going to hear lots of midrash and Kabbalah and really beautiful things tonight from other speakers. Just a very short idea. The Arizal tells us, the master of Kabbalah, why do you need to take us so quick? Yeah, quick. What's the difference? There was no rush. The Egyptians were finished. Because really, we had sunk so low into the Egyptian culture. If we had stayed any longer, we'd become like the Egyptians. So, he had to run quick. There was not even enough time for us to bake our bread. Sometimes the person is in a difficult situation, he has to leave it. He has to escape. So that's the idea of Pesach. And understand that we don't take anything for granted. We don't take our Judaism for granted. It's a big gift from Hashem. It's not something we necessarily deserve. Anyways, okay. But that's eating chametz. Relatively straightforward, just you can't eat non-kosher food during the year. You cannot eat chametz on Pesach. Then there's a very strange law on Pesach, which goes much more difficult. Lo yira'eh lecha seor. Yeah. Verbally, it means chametz shall not be seen by you. But the Chachamim explain it means you shall not own the chametz. You cannot own chametz. Okay? So we're going to see, so how do you deal with that? How do you not own chametz? So first things first, you have to start cleaning your home and all your possessions where there could be chametz. Okay. What are you looking for? On first instance, you're not looking for tiny crumbs. Many people, they go crazy about the crumbs. It's good. It's a very nice thing to clean your home for Pesach. It's very nice to clean your home before every Shabbat, and it's definitely a big mitzvah to clean your home for Chag. Simchat Yom Tov, I should look clean. But that's not something, but if that makes you nervous and makes Pesach this dreaded thing that you don't want, then that's the opposite of Chag. So right now, what is your halachic obligation? Halachic obligation is, any chametz is about the size of a kezayit, about the size of a matchbox, a little thing, like biscuit or something. You should make sure there's nothing like that anywhere in your home. If there are little crumbs somewhere, that's not considered ownership. Yeah, I own a crumb of bread. That's not owning anything. Yeah? So you don't need to go crazy, open a book, open a screen, whatever it is, like this story somebody said, looking under the oven and behind the fridge, because that's not what Pesach is about. You can do that if you want, but there is no obligation. So that's about ownership. Now, many of us, we have the type of chametz that is very hard, we don't want to get rid of. Yeah, you might have a valuable whiskey, or some people, they own chametz in somewhere else. Somebody might own chametz in a different country. Somebody might own shares in a company, in a bakery. There are many types of owning chametz where it's not even really possible, or it's very difficult to imagine getting rid of it and destroying it. Because of that, what most of us do, we do what's called mechilat chametz, selling of the chametz. What is selling of the chametz? So the Talmud already tells us, you can sell your chametz to a non-Jew, which is obvious, right? If it's not yours, it's not yours. But what we do, it's a bit of a trick, really, because one could say it's a bit dishonest in a way. You have to understand the selling of chametz, mechilat chametz, was created because, like we said, there are people who have no other choice. Somebody who owns a company of beer or whatever it is, you cannot just destroy everything, get rid of everything. So how does mechilat chametz work? Some places the rabbi of the community takes care of it. The last few years what we have done is I send a link online, and everybody clicks on the links, puts the details there, and you write there your name, your address, what sort of chametz have you got. You put all that chametz that you're selling to the goy into a cupboard, you close that cupboard, you tape it, and you don't by accident take anything from it, and you write there chametz not in use. And there's one rabbi in Europe, Rav Shmuel, takes care of everything actually. He has all these forms that people have appointed him as their shaliach to sell the chametz to a non-Jew. And then the day before Pesach, usually he sits down with the goy, with the non-Jew, and he buys all the chametz he estimates the price, obviously with thousands and thousands of euros. You imagine all the chametz of one country, or even many countries, talking about huge value. But the goy gives him 5 euros, and the sale is concluded, and he says, I'll pay the rest later. Immediately after Havdalah, at the end of Pesach, the rabbi immediately contacts him. Okay, are you paying the rest? No, of course not, it's too much money. Okay, you want to buy it, so I can sell it back to you, and sells it back, he makes a little profit, and that's it. So during Pesach, he didn't own the chametz. That's called mechilat chametz, and that's what we do, what most Jews do. There's always a good safety net, even if you think, okay, there's no chametz in my house, nothing. You never know, and sometimes there is something that, so many products now, they're very complicated products, not like in the past. People had eggs and milk and fruit in their house. We have medicine that we're not even sure what they put in it, and it's very complicated. So sale of chametz is always the safest thing to do, and I would say most observant Jews practice the sale of chametz. That's owning chametz. That's not going to be so much of a problem. The bigger problem is going to be eating chametz, right? Eating chametz, here it's very serious, because eating chametz, in any other area of kashrut, we say if you have a small bit of chametz, of non-kosher food, non-kosher meat, non-kosher whatever, falls into food. In any other laws of kashrut, if there is food drops into your food, non-kosher food falls into your food, but then b'shishim, 60 times more kosher than non-kosher, the food is kosher. That's the general rule. On Pesach, very interesting stringency, chametz asur b'mashim. The smallest crumb that falls into your food on Pesach, your food is chametz. So therefore, all the areas that are in contact with food, that means the kitchen, that means the dining room where you eat, that means if your children bring books to the table, that means anything like that, where they might be brought to the table, and if there was a little crumb that could fall into your food, those have to be very, very well cleaned. Okay? So that's very important. All of this, anything that could come in contact with food should be cleaned very thoroughly. Remember, whenever you use soap, you use something that ruins the crumbs and gives them a bad taste, then you're safe, right? Because if it's not edible, it's not a problem of chametz. So that's the main thing. All other areas of the house which are not going to be in contact with food, you should make sure there's no proper biscuit, proper piece of chametz. The area which is going to be in contact with food, you have to do a very thorough cleaning. Use soap, use detergent everywhere to make sure there is no crumbs which could be edible anywhere that could get mixed to your food on Pesach. Okay. Then vessels, kelim. Yeah. So what sort of vessels can you use? Always send the Pesach info you'll get from the community. I think you get it with the Keilah now. So you'll have all the main instructions there. But to make it short, it's always good to have the main things on your mind. It says in the Torah, כל אשר יבוא באש, יבוא באש. What goes through fire will go through fire. שתעביר במים, יבוא במים. What goes through water, will go through water. Everything that's used cold, during the rest of the year, not hot. If it's clean, it's kosher. If it's used hot, so then it depends. If it's used hot with liquid, let's say a pot, a saucepan, where you boil food, so you have to do hagalah to it. Forks and knives, do hagalah to them. What's hagalah? You clean them thoroughly, you wait 24 hours, and then you dip them in a pot full of boiling hot water. That's hagalah. You can do that to metal, you can do that to wood as well. Plastic is a machloket, some allow plastic, some do not. Earthenware, China, you cannot make kasher. So plates, your China, which are usually made from China, plates, which you use during the rest of the year, you cannot use them on Pesach, put them away, and remember, everything you put away, put some sort of tape. You're not going to by accident open that. Yeah? So that's concerning plates. So China cannot be kasher, metal can be kasher, wood can be kasher, and yes, glass is two minhagim, two very different minhagim. The custom of the Sfaradim is to consider that glass does not even need to be kasher. If it's clean, it's kasher. That's the opinion of Maran Bet Yosef, of Yosef Karo. The opinion of the Rema is much stricter. He said that glass cannot be kasher. It's like earthenware. Shatat Chag, something is very difficult for him to have glass stuff. Specifically on Pesach, he allows you put in cold water for 72 hours and you change every 24 hours the cold water. So, very big difference in practice here between Sfaradim and Ashkenazim. Of course, in all of these things, if you can have stuff special for Pesach, it's always better. But not everybody can afford it, not everybody has space to keep it. So you have the option of doing hagalah. We, for example, in the community, we rely completely on kashering because we don't even have, there's no space here where we would keep kosher Pesach utensils to use. But of course, that would be the ideal. If you have special things, kosher Pesach, that's good. Otherwise, most things you can find a solution to. If something is used hot, dry, yeah, that means I think the best example is an oven tray. Let's say a spit for grilling or something like that. There, you cannot really kasher it because the only way to make it kasher is what's called libun chamur. Libun chamur, really to burn it so hot that little sparks start coming out of the metal. It turns red hot. So there are certain things you can do that with, but it's usually quite hard because a lot of our appliances nowadays, the way they're made, oven trays and so on, if you try to do that, you'll just break. You're very likely to just break break your tray. So you just get special oven trays that you use only on Pesach. That's that. Concerning appliances, so the oven, clean it very well. Use a proper oven cleaner because that's proper poison. So even if something stayed there, it would be completely inedible. Clean it well. Wait 24 hours from last use, and then turn it to maximum for 1 hour. The hobs on top of the oven, the stove, clean it really well. Turn the hobs on each one for about 10 minutes. Make it really as hot as you can to maximum. The area between the hobs, pour boiling water on it.
What if you, for the oven trays, if you put foil over is it okay?
Yes, so that's one option. You could wrap the tray in a few covers of foil. Maybe 3, I would say, because if it tears, it's very risky. So that would be one option. If you wrap it completely, there's been no way in contact with the food. That would be an option. Yes. Right. That is that. All the surfaces, tables, everywhere where you put hot food, hot pots, hot pans, either you clean them and you pour boiling water on them, or you can cover them. If you have something you can just keep covered and attached with the cover will stay the whole of Pesach. The idea is everything that's had hot contact, and this is for kashrut the whole year round, if something that's had hot contact, the whole thing becomes not kosher. Then you put something else there later that will have the same effect on the food that is kosher at Pesach. The sink, you clean the sink very well, and then you pour boiling water on it straight from the kettle. By the way, when you do hagalah, you have to, and you kasher kelim, kasher utensils, it has to be that the pot is on the stove and the stove is on. Kli rishon al ha'esh, it's called. It doesn't have to be a physical fire, it can be an electric fire, it can be an electric hob, but it should be on. That's hagalah, that's libun. Dishwasher, if you need it, you can clean it completely, take out all the bits that are in the filter, check the filter really well, because the filter often has residue in it, clean it very well, and then turn it on for a full circle with detergent. Yeah, detergent is very important because that actually, if something is left somewhere, it will ruin it, and it'll be okay. Microwave, again, I usually just put my microwave away. I also put my dishwasher away. It depends. Whatever you don't need, it's always better to put it away and not use it. If you need it, microwave, you have to clean it very, very carefully. Very difficult to clean it properly. And then you can put the glass there, turn the microwave on, and let usually put soapy water and let the microwave clean itself. So you put the glass there with water in it, because you cannot put an empty glass in the microwave, otherwise you'll destroy your microwave. Okay, so that's more or less, but again, this is all written in the Pesach info that you will get, or you will be on the screen.
Pyrex is treated as glass, those that you put in the oven.
Yeah, Pyrex is glass. Okay, good. I gave a similar shiur on Sunday. There's a lot of confusion between Tvilat Kelim and Hagalat Kelim. So please remember, there's nothing, there's kashering and there's toveling. Two things have nothing to do with each other. You kasher a utensil which has been used for something wrong, either something non-kosher, or it's been used during the year, now you want to use it for Pesach, that's kashering, that's hagalah, that's libun. There's something else, you buy a brand new clean vessel from a non-Jew, from a normal shop in Finland, you have to convert it, just like a non-Jew wants to convert it, has to go to mikveh. So this vessel, made for, needs to go to mikveh, because it's going to be part of a Jewish kitchen. That's called Tvilat Kelim. Okay? Just a different thing to be aware. I notice people sometimes get this confused. Okay. Once you have everything you need, you want to get food, right? What food can you get for Pesach? Okay? So, this is a difficult thing very often in Finland. If you're in Israel, or in America, or in England, France, you can just get kosher Pesach products, or kosher Pesach stam. And that's obviously, the best option. If you're kosher Pesach product with the kosher Pesach stam, it means somebody is actually keeping an eye on the factory where they're making everything kosher Pesach. I'll order stuff from kosher for you, but it's very difficult. Sometimes the prices can be very high. You're not sure what comes and when it comes. So definitely in places like Finland, we don't have so much option. We're in a situation of shattered chak.
Smart.
Yeah, for sure. What you can get, it's amazing. But we have to know what we cannot get here. And what is okay, from strictly speaking, the halakha. Yeah? So I use often a list that the London Basin actually, they published this list in 2020 when there was this whole COVID situation. Not everybody could drive to the kosher shops to get all what they used to do. It's good to know basic things that are perfectly fine. Yeah? Pure cocoa powder is fine. Nescafe Gold, normal instant coffee is fine. Yeah. Crushed nuts in a powder is fine. Yeah, very important. People like to bake and you cannot use normal flour. People like to make just pure nuts. Crushed dry spices are fine. Eggs are fine. Frozen fish, fresh fish, frozen fruit, frozen vegetables are fine. Of course, depending if you're Ashkenazi or Sephardi, it's a question of kitniot. But assuming besides that, frozen vegetables are fine. Pure orange juice is fine. Pure honey is fine. Pure sugar is fine. Check that when you, even if it says pure, it's 100%, check the ingredients that they don't add. Some they add something very like small, like citric acid or antioxidant, phosphate, whatever. And then you look into it, it could actually, you don't know. It's very easy for something to be chametz based. And even if it says gluten-free, it doesn't mean it doesn't have chametz. Because, for example, you could make gluten-free from grain. If you take off the gluten, you could have oats. Some people are gluten-free, they can have certain types of oats. So gluten-free does not mean it's kasher lepesach.
Sorry, you mentioned honey.
Yeah.
When you buy honey from a goy, for example, that produces honey, can you use for Pesach?
You're 100% honey, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't know if he used vessel because he didn't pay attention for Pesach. But I have, for example, pure honey from owner, which means homemade, but I didn't use for Pesach just because of those reasons.
Honey is fine, sugar is fine. I'll tell you something, when you buy products that don't have a proper hashgacha, which I tell you here it's fine, you should buy them before Pesach. Why? Because there's a halacha, like I said to you, chametz asur b'mashu. Even the tiniest crumb of chametz makes the whole food chametz. However, that halacha is only if it happens on Pesach. If it gets mixed into the food before Pesach, it's a normal laws of kashrut. But there 60 times more kasher than non-kasher, it's kasher. Right? So therefore, you don't need to go. If you get it earlier before Pesach, then you've got the safety. For sure, it wasn't made on Pesach. Even if a little crumb fell in, that's bater b'shishit. Pure sunflower oil, pure olive oil, that's fine. Okay, vegetables, of course, it's fine. Potato starch, very people like to use peruna yaho, that's fine. Some people ask me about quinoa. Yeah, quinoa. Yeah, so it's just a berry. Quinoa is actually a berry, and it shouldn't really be kitniot. There's no real custom. There are some people who say because it's very similar to grains, so if you're Ashkenazi, it's kitniot, but cannot really say it's forbidden. Raisins should be fine as well. If you look at sun-made raisins in the shop, you'll see there's actually a triangle K with a P. So that's even better because there's somebody that actually checks the place for Pesach. But in general, just pure raisins, they usually just have raisins and a bit of sunflower oil, that's fine. Sometime, one year it happened to us, meat came. Kosher meat came, but it didn't say kasher lepesach. What's the halacha? If it's just raw meat, non-processed, then it's kasher lepesach. If it's a product, sausages, well, then it's a problem. then you don't know how they made it. But if it's kosher, kasher raw meat is kasher also for Pesach. Yeah, salt, pure salt is kasher for Pesach. There's a big confusion in this community. Many people said here that Coke is kasher for Pesach. I don't know where they got it from. I emailed even the people who make Coke. And they say it's impossible to know such a thing because the recipe of Coke is a secret. So nobody knows how to make Coke except a few people in the whole world. So it doesn't make sense to me to say that Coke should be kosher Pesach. In the special productions of kosher Pesach Coke in certain places, in Israel, in America, in places where people use it more. But generally Coke is not kosher Pesach. And you shouldn't buy all these soft drinks that are like with carbonated. It's just carbonated water would be fine. Like Vichy is fine. Okay. So pure black tea or pure green tea is fine. Once it's mixed with flavorings, don't touch it because you don't know how they make the flavorings.
Is it with all these that you basically don't know? Is the law like the same as with that if you would know it's chametz? Like, let's say if you have flavored tea and basically it doesn't say that you don't know, like it could be that it's chametz, but it doesn't say it. So is that also that you would have to put that away, or is that just
anything that you cannot use on Pesach, you should put it away. You ask an interesting question. If some of that accidentally fell into your food, what the halacha would be? Okay, that you have to ask a rabbi case by case. But you should put it away.
But like throw it away or just don't use it? If it
I would put it in the cupboard where with all the stuff you're selling to a non-Jew. Canned salmon, tin salmon as they call it, or tin sardines, tin tuna, that is fine. If it's just with fish and oil and water, that's fine. If it's got other things, then it's a problem. Some people ask me about shampoo and about detergent, and that's just tuyot, okay? That's not food. If it's not edible, then it's kasher Pesach. Toothpaste, there's a bit of people ask because it goes in your mouth and it doesn't taste horrible because you put it in your mouth. They must say it's also fine. Some people in Israel and America, they would have bigger communities try to make kasher Pesach toothpaste. But they must say it's fine. You can use normal toothpaste on Pesach. Plain natural yogurts without any flavorings are also kasher Pesach. Plain milk is kasher Pesach. Again, you should get the milk earlier. What we do, for example, we need a lot of milk for the family, so we freeze. We buy a few bottles of milk before Pesach, we freeze it. This way, and then we take it out as we need it during Pesach. This way, you 20 minutes.
5 minutes.
You better take
45,
a break.
yeah.
Okay, so then I need to move on because the main.
5 minutes.
I thought we had an hour. Okay.
So let's make it on 10.
Okay. Fine. Okay, good. Okay, so let's get. That is the main part. That's just a general overview of the stuff we need to know every year. And then we get to the actual time of Pesach. Now, one little thing about the products that you have to be aware of. When it comes to products, it's very important that when I'm talking about product in kasher Pesach, it means it's a closed packet. Everything that is, even if it's completely kasher Pesach, if let's say a packet of, I don't know, of pure water, a bottle of water, if it's been open, it's been out on the table during the year, you have to put it away. Because how can you promise that some bread didn't go in, some chametz didn't go into it? Right. So everything that's opened has to go away for Pesach and closed. Put it in a cupboard and you close off, right?
The same thing with cocoa. If you want,
Yeah.
you need to use
If
cocoa.
you have to buy a brand new pack.
Open package.
Exactly. Okay. Then we come to Pesach itself, or to the days before Pesach, and now I want to talk about what is different this year. Every year Pesach we say Mani Shana Laila. How is this night different from all other nights? But now we need to ask Mani Shana Shana Azot. How is it different this year from all other years? So what happens in a normal Jewish Pesach year? The normal year, the night before the Seder, 24 hours before the Seder, on the 13th of Nisan at night, we do Bedikat Chametz. You light a candle, make the bracha, you find the beginning of Haggadah, and you check the whole house, the last check of Chametz. You make the declaration that's in the Haggadah, that you nullify all Chametz you haven't found. The next morning, you still have a bit of Chametz breakfast, and then you collect all the Chametz and you burn it, and you make the declaration, Kol Chamira, because it says in the Torah, you are not allowed to have any Chametz in your home already on the day before Pesach, because that was the day of the Korban Pesach. Lo tishchat al Chametz dam zivchi. You shall not slaughter the Passover sacrifice while you still have Chametz. Yeah? And the day before Pesach, Erev Pesach, was the day of the Korban Pesach, was the day of the Pesach sacrifice. So that they were not allowed to have Chametz. So that's what happens in normal year. The night before, you search the Chametz. The morning, you burn the Chametz. And after the burn, you make the declaration, Kol Chamira v'Chamiyah, that you find in the beginning of every Haggadah. All the Chametz in my possession should be nullified. And when you do that, you nullify in your mind all the Chametz. That means even if there is some Chametz somewhere that I know it has no value for me and I don't consider it my ownership. And that's when you do the mitzvah that's written in the Torah, Tashbitu seor mibatechem. Remove Chametz from your home. And then you move on to the preparations of Pesach. And then the night you have the Seder. Now this year there's a big problem because the day before Pesach is Shabbat, right? So what do? You cannot burn the Chametz on Shabbat morning because you cannot burn anything on Shabbat. And you cannot actually, it doesn't make sense to search for the Chametz on Friday night. Actually, you're not even allowed to move a candle. So you go one day backwards. On Thursday night, we search the Chametz. Okay? In the right place. On Thursday night, we searched for the Chametz. Then, we say the declaration that's there. Kol chamira v'chameh deika b'rshuti. All the chametz that's in my possession, that I haven't seen, is nullified, okay? And by then, everything has to be clean, kasher Pesach in your house already. But Friday is still a normal day. It's not Erev Pesach. Only Saturday night starts Pesach. So now, it's not a problem. Your house is clean. Your house is clean. That's not a problem. You're allowed to have. You're allowed to have to eat kosher Pesach food, even if it's not Pesach yet. But there's a problem because on Friday night and on Shabbat day, you have a mitzvah to eat hamotzi. Take 2 breads and cut them. And make hamotzi lechem min haaretz. So how are you going to do that? So what we do is like this. On Friday morning we burn the chametz, but we don't say the declaration. All the chametz that I have is kol chamira v'chamiyah that we say in the beginning. We don't say it yet because you're still going to keep some bread in your house. You're going to keep the minimum bread that you need just to make the hamotzi on Friday night and the hamotzi on Shabbat morning. Okay, that's it. I suggest very strongly try to get pita bread. Why? Because it doesn't crumb everywhere. And your house already kasher Pesach, so you don't want any crumbs anywhere. Keep the few breads that you need. You need 2 breads for the Friday night meal and 2 breads for the Shabbat morning meal. Keep them safe in a plastic bag that they don't crumb anywhere. When you make hamotzi, eat what you need to eat and put it away. Because your whole meal is kasher Pesach. All the vessels, all the plates, folks, is in kasher Pesach. Because you already put away everything before Shabbat. All the chametz dishes. Okay? That's Friday. That's Friday. Yeah? The rabbis only sold all the other chametz, right? Now what about Shabbat? Now this is very interesting. Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah? Okay? Shabbat morning, right? This is where it gets very tricky. Because the day before Pesach, as we said, you're not allowed to eat chametz when it comes to time of the Korban Pesach, the sacrifice. I checked in Helsinki, it's going to be 10:58 a.m. After that, you're not allowed to have chametz. You're going to tell me, so why don't you just have matzah? But there's a halacha, you cannot have matzah on Erev Pesach. The day before Pesach, you're not allowed to have matzah. Because you're meant to come to the meal of Pesach, the matzot, with excitement for this special mitzvah. So you're stuck. You have a mitzvah, to make the bracha onto halot. You cannot use chametz because by lunchtime it will already be forbidden to eat chametz. But you cannot use matzah because you're not allowed to have matzah until the evening. So what do? So we make shacharit earlier. Shacharit is going to be 7:45 in the morning. Make it quicker, less singing, no misheberachs, no donations. You finish it 9:45, 10 o'clock. Everybody has 1 hour to go home to make hamotzi before 10:58, when the prohibition of chametz kicks in. You collect all the crumbs everywhere you have. You put them into the toilet, flush the toilet, and then you say kol chamiga v'chametz. Then you make the declaration. All the chametz that is in my possession is nullified. Okay, so this is the way you do it. There's still a question, 2-3 minutes. Still a question about what about Seudah Shlishit? Yeah? You have to have 3 meals on Shabbat, right? Friday night, Shabbat morning, and Shabbat afternoon, Seudah Shlishit. But that's less of a problem because there already the Shulchan Aruch tells us if you're stuck, you don't have to have bread. You can have a fruit, you could have a vegetable, you could have something else. So not absolutely obligated. It's better during the year when possible to make Seudah Shlishit with bread or mezonot, but if it's not possible, like in this case, because Erev Pesach, then you don't have to. There is one last thing maybe to mention, Tanit Bechorim, the fast of the firstborn. Usually we fast, or the firstborn of each family have accustomed to fast the day before Pesach, Erev Pesach. Usually, because it's a difficult fast, we make a siyum in the synagogue, so that to exempt them from the fast, so we make a reason to celebrate. This year, it's interesting, it goes back to Thursday. Why? Really it could go back to Friday, but we try to avoid fasting on Fridays, because Fridays they are busy with Shabbat. So if you're concentrating on fasting and praying, you're not going to be able to prepare properly for Shabbat. So the fast is moved to Thursday. So that creates an interesting thing. The fast of the firstborn is Thursday, and then we do Bedikat Chametz. So the opposite of a normal year. So that is what you should be aware of. So Thursday morning you should come to the Siyum, everybody who's a firstborn, and to be exempted. Thursday night you do Bedikah. Friday morning you do the burning without the declaration of Kol Chamira. You save 4 pitot, 2 for Friday night, 2 for Shabbat morning. Shabbat morning we wake up early and make an early Shachrit Musaf. We make an early Hamotzi. In the afternoon just have some other food without grain. And then the evening the Seder. Very important last word. It is forbidden to do any preparations on Shabbat for what's going to happen later in the Chag. So anything that you're going to need during the Seder, you cannot set up anything. If you're going to sit down already while it's still Shabbat, then you can set it up now. But if you're going to only sit down after, even putting chairs, setting tables, anything that's happened on Shabbat, you cannot prepare for the Chag which comes after Shabbat. So I wish you all a very good Chodesh Nisan, Pesach Sameach.
Okay.